Dear Stacy, throughout the course of the semester, I've been able to reflect upon and challenge my beliefs about literacy, as well as consider new ways of teaching. At the beginning of the semester, I was able to grow my own definition of what it means to be literate, which is more than just reading and writing, though those are very important in our world today. Literacy can include using technology, music and dance, gestures, and even ASL. I still believe that literacy is important because it's our way of communicating and expressing ourselves to others. Literacy is an immersive world and also an outlet. It's an escape while also being a way to share with others. Another thing I mentioned in my literacy framework was that I believed that the best way to learn to read was through being read to and specific reading instruction. And while I still feel that those are important, I didn't mention anything about how important it is to get kids to read independently. In Ackerman's lecture, she made a very interesting argument that dogs made better partners than adults for reading because kids felt free to make mistakes and didn't feel judged or overpowered by the dogs. An adult can offer some great advice and helpful hints when reading to or with the child, but sometimes too many corrections or interruptions can hurt a child's self-esteem and deter them from reading, which is the opposite of what we as teachers want. Additionally, the only reading experience a child has should not be being read to. The reading experience should be diverse. Yes, offer a variety of different levels and genre of books for student interest, but allow them to read independently as a group and discuss in book clubs and be read aloud to. In my framework, I mentioned giving students different reading strategies, but I didn't provide any suggestions. I now know that allowing students to play different word games or puzzles can help subconsciously practice word rules or segmenting the word or stopping every paragraph or two to write down key points. I also still agree that much of literacy assessment should be put towards helping the individual rather than creating a mark for their report card. In this class, the Windows, Mirrors, and Sliding Glass Doors article put a lot of things into perspective for me. It reminded me that not everyone can relate to the books that I have. I even examined my own bookshelf and I was shocked that I had only 5 books with a main character who wasn't white. Generally, the books I have read and love are books that I can see parts of myself in the main character. So when I go into my classroom, I want to make sure that my students also have a love of reading and see themselves in the books that they read. Diverse books shouldn't be tokenized. They can be used to empathize with those who are different from me and see similarities as well. Reading is also about escapism, so finding those books that can be sliding glass doors is very important. A quote from Critical Literacy as a way of being and doing that I love is, "The world as text can be read from a critical literacy perspective, especially given that what constitutes a text continues to change. For instance, a classroom can be read as a text. Even everyday objects like water bottles can be read as texts." This helped my literacy understanding because I came to the realization that anything can be used as a topic in literacy, and it makes it easy to create cross-curricular units, which I described in my 3-2-1. How will I continue to learn about teaching and learning in literacy classrooms as I move forward in my teaching career? An easy way is to follow different educators and companies on social media. And so I'm constantly being reminded of different ways to teach literacy, like UFly, because that was very big in the younger grades at my school that I was pre-interning at. I can also view other classrooms during my internship. And when I have my own classroom, I can try things out because you never know what your students will love. Each group of students is different and will learn in a different way. What do I know now that I did not know before this class began? I didn't know that literacy could be fun for everybody. I am someone who loves reading, not necessarily writing, but I've always liked English class. And I know that by finding the right book for your student, you're providing them with the ability to feel empowered and ready to learn. I also know how easily and important it is to implement literacy cross-curricularly, especially because you have to have so many minutes in literacy in Saskatchewan. Through viewing during my pre-internship, if a student does not like a novel and is not interested in the story, they're not going to read it. My class was doing a novel study on The Outsiders, and even though they had questions to answer along with the book, many of them would just sit and stare into space and then copy somebody else's answers later on. So ensuring that you cover different stories is crucial, so then they will at least have one chance to practice these skills and find a book that they love. What is one literacy practice that I would like to try in my classroom? From the Reading Teacher article, it's creating some sort of collaborative book or project. So they had creating bilingual books for the families because it was a very diverse school. I could also put together a collection of stories or poems that my students wrote, and this helps build classroom community and also helps them feel proud of their work. The weekly assignment that I found the most helpful and fun was the book talk. I had so much fun creating that and going back into books that I used to read as a kid and kind of taking a deeper look into the value of it. And it also helped create a classroom community, and this is definitely something that I want to do in my future classroom, so I really, really appreciated that experience. As someone who's in education, it's very cool to experience a strategy that we can use in our classroom rather than talking about it and writing about it. What in the class was most useful? I really found that lesson planning with the other students in the class, you get different inputs on your lesson, and the questions that you had provided made us really think about who our students were and why it's important to have adaptations and differentiate. I also appreciated talking about Wordles because I think this helps just create a calming routine. It's a calming step in the routine and fun, and you can do it as a class, and then later on in the semester or a year you could have them do it on their own and write down their steps and have that go towards specific outcomes, and you can assign a grade in the gradebook. But overall, I really appreciated this course, and I'm excited to implement some of the things that I learned.